I think in the short term, there are going to be bubbles, right? There are going to be big ups and downs. We've seen that obviously. Long term, who knows if the cryptos will really be what they, say they will be, like the promise of like Bitcoin and stuff like that. But I'm hopeful. I think that it can be a new type of money, a new type of like economic system. And I think that there are a few projects that can deliver on those things. So I think that long term, it's good to at least have a little bit of exposure to cryptos because it could replace the system as it is.
Welcome back everyone to Them Sitting Down with Hugh Kimura. We spoke, I think it's been like 2 years ago or more than that. So it's good to have you back, Hugh. Welcome back on the podcast. How's it going today?
Good. Thanks for having me. Good to see you again.
So we just discussed before, you are based in Arizona right now. Is this where you were last time or have you moved to a different place?
No, I was in California the last time.
What made you want to move to Arizona?
It's a lot more, the laws out here are a lot freer, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's why we decided to move, and the sun is nice. We like the weather.
Awesome, cool. So yeah, I want to kind of an interview to discuss things that changed since we last spoke. I know it's been a while. Back then, for sure, cryptos were not that popular compared to now. So what has changed in terms of your trading, or I know you still run the side in the business. What's been different since we last spoke?
Yeah, I've been focusing a lot more on cryptos. On the Forex side, I've been doing a lot more hedging, and I've been doing a lot more research on the cryptos because that takes a lot of time to figure out if these projects are good or not, right? So that's been most of my time, and that's what I've been doing.
So in terms of cryptos, are you trading cryptos, or is it more investing in some project that you believe in?
Yeah, it's more like long-term investing, and then if it pops up, then I'll take a little bit out, let it come back down again, and start to buy back in again.
What made you want to jump to cryptos? Because I know people who are still on the fence. They want to kind of go into it, but are not sure about it yet. Some people think trading is the only way to do it, or like I said, investing long term. What made you want to go into that, and what made you believe that this was something you could do and you could make money of?
Oh yeah, I think the writing is kind of on the wall right now in terms of the fiat currencies, right? And I think there's a good chance that at least the US dollar can hyperinflate at any point. So I think cryptos are one of those good alternatives. And I think that if you get into the right project, you could hedge your risk when it comes to owning fiat currencies.
So sometimes people might believe that a trader, when you become to a point where you're successful, you can just stop and do the same thing all the time, which is not what he did. Like, he went to other things and do the other things. So is this something you see in like most traders to kind of evolve? They change things over time, or do you think that they feel that they always stay constant and do the same thing all the time?
It just depends on the trader. I think I've seen maybe about half and half, I guess. Like, half of them will stick to one thing and just do that. And the other guys will kind of like evolve and change their strategy a little bit, change the markets that they trade. And then when they see new opportunities, go for those opportunities also.
I definitely want to go back to cryptos because that's something I thought yesterday with a friend, also a trader as well, in here in Bangkok. But tell me about trading. So you mentioned you moved now more to hedging. What does that mean? What does that look like exactly in terms of your trading?
It's a little hard to explain unless you really do it, but you can almost kind of enter anywhere in the market, right? And then you'll take off a little bit here, you take a little bit of profit here, and then you might hedge it with the opposite position. And then if the market goes in that direction, you'll take a little bit off there. And then what I do is when I have a little bit of profit built up, then I'll take a little bit of a loss on the other side just to balance it out. And just kind of balance the two sides of the books.
And what are some of the benefits of doing that compared to just trading with the stop loss and entering the thing right away with like a simple strategy, basically? What makes that different?
That's a good question. It's a lot more flexible. Like if I know I'm hedged, that's all I can lose, right? So I can take a couple of days off if I don't want to look at the charts. And then if I want to trade more actively, I can start to go in there and really micromanage it and try to work off the positions that are losing. So that's been good right now. I've been testing a few like set and forget strategies, but that's what's been doing it for me right now.
Do you feel like you have less losses doing that? Or because of course you could do the same thing with like a stop loss and that's it, right? You could also know how much you lose and everything.
Yeah.
What are some of the uses of that compared to for someone who doesn't know exactly how that works yet?
With hedging, you can just kind of look at the other side. With a stop loss, if you get stopped out multiple times, it can be really kind of depressing. Some people get discouraged, right? And you might be you might want to give up at some point if you get stopped out too many times. But in this case, you're not getting stopped out. You're always rolling off positions, and you can take a profit here and take a 50% of that profit and roll off the loss, right? The downside of hedging is that you can build up these positions that are, fairly big losers, and you have to figure out a way to get out of that. So there's always a give and take, obviously, in trading, but that's the upside of it.
So you'd be having less losses then, in general.
I don't know if it's less losses, but not always, but you usually come away with a net profit, right?
Okay, interesting. And to be honest, it's not something I do myself, not something I've really been into that much. So it's good to see you talk about this. And do you trade the same currency pairs? Do you limit yourself to only a few pairs that you want to focus on hedging?
Yeah, it only really works with the pairs that have a small spread. So I only do Euro US and US Japanese yen.
And it's following the same strategies you had before, or are you using the kind of different strategies to enter the market?
I'm always kind of playing with things, but I mean, it basically comes down to the same thing, right? You just look for support and resistance. You kind of like place your orders there, or you enter there. And then depending on what you think the market's going to do, you either take a small pop or you kind of let it run a little bit longer.
Cool. So tell me, what does the day-to-day look like in your life? What's kind of like the routine you have to be able to incorporate trading and of course other things you do on the side? What does that look like exactly?
Well, I wake up around 10 a.m. and then take a look at the markets a little bit, see what's going on. Cryptos are kind of in a dull period right now, so not really looking at that too much. Looking at the Forex charts a little bit, for half an hour or whatever, and then doing the trading hero stuff, like creating content and doing some research for the newsletter that I'm doing, and just researching a lot of crypto information, because there's so much to learn about that.
How do you find that, by the way? So I know people want to get to crypto. Some people are already in it and they want to kind of learn about different projects, different new things that are coming up. How do you find information? Because it seems like there's like so much information out there, so many sites you can follow. How do you kind of pick where to go and what to read about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of like trusted sources that I go to. And then I also check out their Discord servers. Usually they have a good Discord channel, and that's where they post a lot of the information. And then sometimes it just comes down to like buying a few, coins and seeing how it performs and seeing how the mechanics works. And then just doing research that way.
I'm not sure if you've seen that as well, but sometimes people who are in cryptos get really like enthusiastic about it. They really kind of believe in things, and a lot of people talk about crypto being a bubble and things gonna fall apart at some point. Do you believe that, or is it something that you try to stay away from, or is it like purely out of the window and not a real thing?
Yeah, that's the question, right? I think in the short term, there are going to be bubbles, right? They're going to be big ups and downs. We've seen that, obviously. Long term, who knows if the cryptos will really be what they say they will be, like the promise of like Bitcoin and stuff like that. But I think that I'm hopeful. I think that it can be a new type of money, a new type of like economic system. And I think that there are a few projects that can deliver on those things. So I think that long term, it's good to at least have a little bit of exposure to cryptos, because it could replace the system as it is.
How do you kind of build a portfolio where crypto is not too big or not too small either? Is it like a percent of your overall portfolio that you would invest in cryptos, or how you decide to see how much you can put on cryptos versus trading or different things?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's really individual to the person, right, and their own economic situation, obviously. But like for me, I think that the big things coming up are going to be cryptos. You're going to have physical gold and silver, and then I believe that physical objects that you can own, like land, I think tools are going to be a big thing in the future, because I think supply chains are going to go down and people are going to start doing more things for themselves. So I think that the tool market is going to be a good place to have a little bit of money, and then another 25% in just cash, and be ready to take advantage of things or be able to pay for things with some cash on hand.
Speaking of, you mentioned projects for cryptos that you are following and believe in. Do you have any favorite right now? Anything that you kind of follow or you really like a lot? And of course, it's going to change with time. It's not going to be the same forever for sure. But what are some of the things you think are interesting or worth kind of researching more?
Yeah, totally. I think right now, like Bitcoin is the most secure currency out there, cryptocurrency out there. So I think that needs to be considered whenever you're looking at cryptos. Um, but I wouldn't expose myself too much to Bitcoin because I think it's going to be an aging technology, and I think eventually it's going to go out. So that's one project that I would definitely look at if you haven't looked at it already. I'm sure everybody has. The other one I like is Pirate Chain. I think their technology is pretty awesome. And I think that there's going to be a general move towards privacy, right? Privacy in the financial markets or privacy in cryptocurrency, because like when you had the websites in the early days of the internet, the websites weren't secure. So you couldn't do like credit card transactions, or they were risky at least. But now they have SSL and they have all these securities, right? So I think that the same thing has to happen in the crypto markets. So you're going to look at something like Pirate Chain, which probably has the most private technology out there. And then of course, something like Monero, because it's been around for so long and they haven't been able to crack it. So I think those types of projects are going to be the ones to look out for. And if you can get something that's the privacy version of Ethereum, I think Ethereum is going to phase out eventually also. But I think that if you can get a privacy version of Ethereum, have smart contracts that are private, I think that's the next wave also.
So the privacy issue is not about the government being able to kind of control cryptos. It's more about you not losing your cryptos and not being hacked for your cryptos. Is that right?
Not really. I think it's more about not having like your checking account balance online for everybody to see, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways to make money with cryptos? I know, of course, you could buy, you can hold them, you can sell them, of course, that's for sure. But are there other ways you can make money with cryptos? Like I've heard recently about staking your cryptos, and you can have interest rates that you earn in your cryptos. What are some of the other ways to make money with cryptos, and how does that work?
Yeah, staking is a good one. A lot of the DeFi networks start off at a really high interest rate. So if you can get in early, you can get paid quite a bit, and then it'll start to go down, and then it'll eventually get down to like, I don't know, 5 or 6% a year, right? Another way you can do it is like what we do, content creation. So you can get on these platforms, video platforms like Odyssey or like DLive or any of those platforms, and you can get paid in crypto if people like your content. So that's another way that you can make some money there. And then you can also like refer people to these these exchanges that you like that are credible, and that also fits in with content creation if you do that. Otherwise, you can also like figure out how to get paid in crypto, right? Like if you accept payments on your website through credit cards, you can also have a plugin, like a WordPress plugin that will do Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies, and you can get paid that way. You can offer a discount if they pay in crypto or something like that. So yeah, those are the main ways to get paid in crypto.
Will you personally store, like, let's say, some part of your income or part of your net worth in cryptos, or do you think that that's kind of you want to move to cash when you get some profit of cryptos, or you keep it in cryptos instead?
And for just that little portion, that 25% or whatever I'm going to put in there, yeah, I'll just keep it in crypto.
Do you feel like it's worth having multiple cryptos as much as you could, or do you want to limit it to a few cryptos that you believe in?
I personally believe in maybe just a handful. I mean, you should diversify a little bit, obviously, but some people have like 50 of them. I don't know if that's really that beneficial, but I believe in like a handful, 4 or 5, 6.
Do you feel like cryptos are correlated a lot right now, or do you think it's going to change over time that some cryptos will perform well while some perform not good? Because I feel like now they're really correlated.
Yeah, they're super correlated. I mean, you just watch Bitcoin and that's what all the other ones are going to do, right? But I think we're starting to see this point where some of them are kind of decoupling from Bitcoin. So I think you see Algorand went on a big run when Bitcoin was down. So I think that over time these coins will start to develop their own personalities, and they'll be less reliant on the price of Bitcoin.
And with all your background in trading, why not trade cryptos? What makes you want to stay away from actively trading it like you trade Forex right now, or different things?
Yeah, I think it's just really volatile. Like anybody will tell you, you can't really pick the tops or bottoms with stocks or Forex, right? But at least they go in like small increments, and you can kind of like catch a little bit here and catch a little bit there. But with cryptos, I think it's just better to find where the bottom is, at least you think the support is. Just kind of buy there, scale in there, and then as it shoots up, you kind of scale out a little bit, put it into like a stable coin or something, and then when it comes back down, you scale back in again, right? I think that's to me, that's the strategy that makes the most sense in crypto.
So you try to average your costs down as much as you can to be able to
Yeah.
get a better price. Cool. Awesome. Interesting. And this doesn't make sense with all the moves we have also. So I totally understand that. I know at some point people were saying that cryptos was easier to trade than Forex. It was more clear, kind of easier to pick or to trade with technicals, but maybe it changed. I'm not sure about it. And that's something I'm still kind of fairly new to, but the way we talk about it is more, it's easier to kind of, dollar cost average and try to get in at better prices with them.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's the way I see it, but it just depends on how everybody else sees the market, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. What are some of the resources for people who want to learn cryptos? I'm sure you have some places on your website where you have some guides or some things people can learn from, and we'll try to leave those links below. But what are some of the places that you recommend people to learn from in terms of cryptos and trading?
Well, I have a new newsletter out. I talk about cryptos a little bit. I haven't talked about cryptos too much publicly, but I try to put a lot of stuff in the newsletter. Otherwise, when you look at a project, find out which channel they use to communicate the most. So it could be Discord, it could be Twitter, it could be, whatever. So pick that channel and then kind of follow it. If you like the project, kind of follow it and see what people are saying, see what people are saying on Reddit. A good place to get information is from the Crypto Vigilante. So if you check those guys out, they always have some really good research and really good information. And then just follow some of the bigger names in crypto, like Michael Saylor or any of those guys. And there's a lot of hype around. They're really Bitcoin centric, so they really hype Bitcoin. But listening to them talk, you can get a lot of information about not only Bitcoin but the general market conditions. So that's where I would suggest starting.
Are there some things to avoid, like some forums, or of course you shouldn't kind of learn from anyone you hear about online, of course, but are there maybe some kind of comments or thoughts to avoid in terms of cryptos?
Well, that's a tricky one, right? It's tough to know who's really legit without actually kind of following them for a little while. But I think that anybody who tells you, oh, this is the next thing that's going to the moon, I think that's definitely something to avoid. And then if they're hyping one project too much and they're like all about that one project, then they could be getting paid to, hype that project or have some sort of arrangement with that project. So just be aware of that. Cool.
Definitely good to hear about you and good to hear about these things. Again, something I'm not super experienced with, so good to hear from your thoughts and what you believe in that case. Anything you want to mention, people that we didn't talk about yet?
I think you pretty much covered it. What are your thoughts on crypto? I'd like to hear what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, so I'm still learning a lot about it, right? So I began trading it a little bit in the beginning. I also invested some money for longer term different cryptos. And that's been going well so far. Of course, with the recent down move, it's been I've been a bit out of it, but overall it's been pretty good. And it's all about kind of learning how things work, how the different cryptos work. Like you mentioned, different projects, different ways to make money as well. Interesting to hear about, and pretty much in learning phase again. So it kind of it feels like going back to learning trading again, and you have to learn all these things from scratch. It's pretty much the same.
Cool. There's another resource that I would recommend. This guy Jack Spirko, he has the Survival podcast. He talks about other stuff, but like he really breaks down crypto in a way that's easy to understand. So I would recommend checking him out too.
Awesome, very cool. Where can people find you? Then I'll connect with you or reach out after this podcast.
Yeah, tradingheroes.com is the best place.
Are you still having a podcast? Are you still doing that, or is it something?
Well, I'm doing it with Walter Peters. So we're doing a trading psychology podcast. It's called the Think Profit Podcast, and it's available on all the podcast channels. So if you want to check that out.
Awesome, sounds good. I'll make sure to put the links below in the description for that podcast if you guys want to check it out, of course. Thank you, Hugh. I appreciate your time. Again, it was good to catch up and see what you're doing and also how you progress in things that you come across. I think that's really good to hear. and we'll hopefully catch up pretty soon.